Um, hey, this is Sean from Facebook company development team. So today I'm going to have a presentation to all stakeholders about the fact social network site has changed people's life and the benefits of this social networking site has bring to people, as well as the drawback, of course. And us as a Facebook develop team member, how can we manage the drawbacks and adapt to the future trends and gain from them? So previously on last presentation, so we have gave the definition of the social networking, and we list the reasons of SNS became so powerful and popular, and the fact that SNS has covered all aspects of people's life and the effects of this SNS on society. So today I'm going to present more about how can we manage the drawbacks and what's the future trends of SNS and how can we adapt them and gain from them. So in order to give the solutions to these drawbacks, we should briefly go through again on these disadvantages. Well, as we know, the advantages could be, some of them could be strengths to the past and present friendship. It's great platform across the global. It's cost effective, easier the communication, which you don't need to pay. Helps organization, boost many organization and business. Anyway, so for the disadvantages, well, always come up first with the privacy issue. The personal data has exploded all over the world, and secondly, addictions of this site can even affect our mental conditions. Sometimes it became a big reason of depression and tension. So sometimes non-generate Facebook account user attack some other religious communities and political groups. It may also affect our health directly because you're sitting in front of a computer for too long, too much indoor activity maybe. So it may encourage porno activities and attack many children and youth. So users' reliability is not sure. It's very hard to trust someone on this kind of sites. It affects children's study. So as they spend their valuable time on this site and lost their study and concentration. And it may encourage many scams. So these are some strategies to prevent or at least decrease the drawbacks for Facebook company. So first, set restriction. Imposition some restriction on this site by Facebook. For instance, people who are under 14 cannot apply account. Or pop up a message to warn user that the time you spend on Facebook has over the limitation. You might need a break. Secondly, proper consulting. It's send a link which provide a long online consulting to addicted user regarding its bad effects and the proper utilization of these sites. So social awareness programs can relate to many scams running on this site can also be helpful. Parents-children interaction and counseling is also a good idea to prevent children from excessive use of the site. user's activeness is also necessary. If a user sees anything illegal, unnatural, or a kind of criminal activity, they can report abuse that content. So report abuse is a feature in almost many sites to report a suspicious and non-social content and activity, and then the site administrator would like to onto that matter. Most importantly, the privacy issue. How to manage that. Me as a development team member of Facebook company, I recommend our company to take the safety and security of Facebook users seriously. And there are some initial strategies to help company to ensure that. So tools for users. So we can make a partnership with the Web of Trust to detect and block bad links, additional maybe click-jacking protection, or login approvals. So completing OAuth 2.0 as an IETF standard. So last year, the industry came together to build the OAuth 2.0 protocol within the IETF. So OAuth 2.0 increase security on the internet by giving people more control over what data can be accessed via APIs. So we can implementing OAuth in addition to contributing deeply to the standard itself. Furthermore, ensuring ad provider quality. So we can update our policy to require developers to use third-party ad provider who has signed of terms and govern ad quality and data use. So this can be important step to give user an easier way to find our provider who have committed to protecting their data. So further, a secure signed cookie specification. So while we moving Facebook to use HTTPS, the vast majority of the internet still set session cookie in the clear. So we can provide a MAC access authentication specification to users, which it is secure session cookie protocol designed to provide a code protection against the stealing session cookies transmitted without HTTPS. So by working with Yahoo and Google on this specification, therefore to give all websites a way to ensure that session information has not been alerted or tampered with. Finally, improving browser security. Start discussions with browser vendors and around the technical solution to increase the security and privacy. So social networking has evolved as a part of our life on the internet. After years of hard-fought competition, Facebook and Twitter stand as undisputed leader in the social networking industry. However, on the other hand, LinkedIn has created its own niche, while some other websites do keep coming up, capture users' interest for a short period of the time. So on the other hand, Google, the first internet search and other internet service, has opted for a social networking product, which is slowly but surely creating a market for its own. So what will be the future of the social networks? So that's a question. Surely that's a question a lot of people is asking lately. So but it's difficult to foresee a future when they barely have a past. Like Twitter only go back 5 years ago. Therefore, it's hard to make a forecast of what will social network will be in 5 years or 10 years. In order to guess the future of social networking, we need to understand the direction which leading social networking websites are taking. So one factor that we can see to be the future phenomenon for sure is the growth niche social networking website. So it's LinkedIn is a social networking website for professionals. Twitter is a mini blogging website in its own standard. Similarly, more such websites could be expected to enter the market. As one would argue, niche site would not be able to attract mass users, but the unique selling point for such website is the exclusive that they offer. In fact, the initial popularity of Facebook can be attributed to the exclusivity of its registration eligibility. So keep that in mind. You just never know. Facebook should adapt other companies' strengths and develop more in niche market and provide more comprehensive service. Here are a few insights that Facebook can develop on. So with the rise of the smartphone market, so mobility. So with the rise of the smartphone market, more and more people accessing the internet from their mobile device. So mobility is the future of internet in general terms. Facebook already developed apps on smartphone, but could invest more on. Therefore, create more services such as Foursquare, so people access the net on the go, and they more often than not make local search. Social networks are already adapting to this, with Foursquare's popularity going up. Foursquares, you can search for that. So in addition, the use of a mobile phone could also offer some interesting new features for social network user. For example, with the help of GPS, a tracking service could show the user where their friends are. Secondly, the privacy. We talked about the privacy, but never enough. Privacy already is one of the internet's most controversial issues. So as we become more social in the internet, users' privacy become more vulnerable. So presumably, social networks will evolve to preserve users' privacy at a greater extent than today. We're working on it, but it will only become greater and greater. Cloud computing. Although most programs people use today are based on the downloadable applications that they need to set up their computers or mobile device, cloud computing is slowly growing in both extent and confidence. In what ways will this affect social networking is still uncertain, but it will surely have its impact. Lastly, group buying. Group buying sites such as Living Social are an upward trend, and they are likely to continue to be so. Also, as we have seen, localization is already playing an important role in social networking, and social networking is likely to integrate localization and purchase in some way in the future. So, in conclusion, SNS has changed people's life and seems it will be continue to doing so. So therefore, with a good understanding of effects of this SNS on people's life, it can be helpful for us to develop better and create greater profit for company. 第5